One of the hardest parts about pursuing financial independence can be your relationship with your significant other. At some point, almost every couple hits the moment where one person becomes laser focused on the future and the other is still firmly living in the present. One's calculating their fire number and the other one is booking fabulous weekend trips, ordering the fancy wine, and buying nice things. If that happens, then suddenly your shared money becomes emotionally charged. In today's Quick Take episode, we take an honest and compassionate look at something a lot of couples experience but don't always talk about. What do you do when your spouse or partner doesn't get fire? This is Life After Enough, a podcast about money, meaning, and the life you design when work becomes optional. I'm your host, Nick. Let's get into it. If you resonate with this tension, it does not mean something is wrong with your relationship. It simply means you have a different emotional engine during this chapter in your life. Couples can often misfire when one partner thinks in decades, but the other one thinks in days. One feels safest preparing for the future, but the other one feels safest enjoying the present. One sees fire as freedom, but the other one sees it as restriction. In this situation, neither party is right or better or the adult in the relationship. They're just different safety strategies. Most of the time, the fire-leaning partner isn't trying to be controlling, they're trying to protect the future. And on the other hand, the present-leaning partner isn't reckless. They're trying to protect joy. Those are both really valid instincts. The tension only becomes painful when those strategies become identities, and those identities become entrenched. When that happens, suddenly every dinner out, every purchase, every holiday, well, they become a referendum on your entire financial philosophy. It's not actually about the money, it's about what the money represents. I've been on both sides of this during my adult life. There's been plenty of seasons where I was the YOLO partner. I spent money on adventures and mountaineering expeditions and big weekend blowouts. Not because I was reckless, but because for me, work felt like a pressure cooker, and those moments were the only places I could breathe. And because I didn't yet understand the maths, the actual trade-offs behind those choices I was making, well, YOLO felt like the only place life was actually happening. I wasn't chasing jam tomorrow, I was just trying to make it to Friday without collapsing in a heap. Then there's been these other seasons of my life where I swung completely in the other direction. Full fire nerd mode. Spreadsheets everywhere. Podcasts on 1.5 speed. Cutting back on anything that didn't spark compounding. Trying to optimize every single corner of life because I finally did understand the maths and I desperately wanted to buy my way out of the stress. It wasn't balanced and it was gripping tightly, but just in the opposite direction. What I learned sitting on both sides of the table is that neither version works if the other person feels dragged, lectured, or left behind. And neither version works if you're too extreme or entrenched in your way over theirs. My husband and I don't always match perfectly on money either. Sometimes I'm in full future mode while he's happy in the present. But sometimes he's the grounded one and I'm being a little dramatic. Shocking, I know. What keeps us steady is that you don't need to want the exact same life. Instead, you need to want to build a life together. When you land on that as the starting point, I think everything else becomes pretty workable. If your relationship has the whole fire, live for today tug of war energy, then it's important for both of you to hear that the other person is not the problem. You're simply two humans with different emotional wiring around money. One of you looks ahead and sees freedom, stability, future options. The other looks at today and sees joy, experience, connection, and the reminder that life is happening right now. Both of those instincts are, of course, completely valid. In fact, both are needed. And both can exist in the same relationship without cancelling each other out. The tension usually flows from this. The long-term thinker wonders, why can't we just play the long game? Don't you see what's possible? And the present-focused thinker wonders, why does everything suddenly feel restricted and heavy? Are we not allowed to enjoy life anymore? It's easy for that to feel like incompatibility, but often It's simply just a conversation you haven't had yet. The moment you stop trying to convert your partner and start trying to understand how they feel safe, how they feel joy, and what money represents to them, everything softens. What looks like a money disagreement is almost always just a communication gap in disguise. The irony, though, is that most of us in this situation miss something really important. You actually need both approaches for the relationship to thrive. Think about it. If both of you were full-fat fire optimization machines, you'd never live. Everything would become an optimization and efficiency and just layers and layers of discipline. None of that replaces joy, magic, or a life that actually feels like it's being lived to the fullest. However, if both of you were fully YOLO, well, you'd never feel safe. Every month would feel like walking a financial tightrope with no net. Fun in the moment, yeah, but permanently one unexpected bill away from panic. There'd be no stability, no long game, no sense that the future is something you actually build together. Just impulse, chaos, and hope as a strategy. And that's not a foundation anyone can truly relax into. If fire is the future, YOLO is the present. A great partnership needs to blend both. So instead of a tug of war, think about choreography. The fire partner tightens the long-term structure, and then the YOLO or live today partner loosens the short-term rigidity. Together, you land on something that actually feels human, workable, and good for both of you. Quick pause. If this episode is sparking something for you, hit follow so you don't miss what's coming next. Feel free to share it with someone who'd love it too. It really helps the show to grow. Okay, so what do you actually do if you feel out of sync about money in the relationship? As usual, here's where we get practical. Tip 1. Start with values, not numbers. When you talk about money, don't start with, we need to cut X, or we should save Y. Instead, zoom out and then anchor the conversation in the stuff both of you genuinely care about. Things like feeling safe, having choices, protecting your time, building a life you're both proud of, giving your future kids stability, having energy left for actual joy. Borrowing from Ramit Sethi, this is where you can design your rich life. His approach is to spend money on things that bring you happiness and joy, and then cut back ruthlessly on the stuff that doesn't. When you look at life from that lens, you can, with some tweaking, have a great life today and meet your fire dreams tomorrow. Money arguments dissolve very quickly when they start with meaning and not with maths. Tip 2. Explain your why without the sermon to help bring you together. Both of you get to have a why. Both matter, and neither cancels the other out. Examples: the fire-leaning partner. I'm not trying to limit our life, I just want us to have more options. Where the present-leaning partner, I'm not trying to sabotage our future, I just want to enjoy life today. When both parties' why sit on the table, you suddenly see you're not opposites. You're just emphasizing different parts of the same truth. Tip 3. Find overlap. Even couples who seem totally misaligned actually share 60, 70, 80% of the same priorities. Think about it. Both of you want less stress in your life. Both of you would probably enjoy more security. Both of you want meaningful experiences. And both of you want the future to just be, okay. Try and find those overlaps and then build from that. Tip 4. Make small agreements, not lifestyle overhauls. You don't need total alignment on everything to do with money, but what is helpful is to have a few shared decisions that you can both get behind. Some examples are maybe having a joint financial goal for the next 90 days. Set a once-a-month money date that lasts 15 minutes, not 2 hours. A loose boundary over impulse spending. Go for it if it's below X dollars, but if it's above that, let's chat. Make shared sinking funds for holidays and treats. And maybe one investing habit that you do together so you can build and celebrate the same thing. Small commitments don't threaten identity or trigger power struggles. They quietly build trust and let both parties be part of the journey. Tip 5. Keep a little autonomy for both of you. This part is so essential. Each partner needs to have their own personal money that's not tracked, not judged, not questioned, and is not a negotiation. This stops financial tension becoming personal tension and ensures both party is treated as an individual. If someone wants to buy skincare, football tickets, gadgets, a random ceramic owl, let them. It's fine. Autonomy dissolves most financial arguments before they even have oxygen. So if you and your partner don't see money the same way right now, don't worry. Especially don't worry if you've only just discovered fire, when you're the super excited one and want to change everything, but your partner thinks you're crazy. It doesn't mean you're incompatible or one of you is wrong. It doesn't mean you have to convince anyone of anything. It just means you're human and that you care about the life you're building together. The real work is about aligning your understanding of each other. If you can stay curious, stay kind, and stay open to finding that middle ground, the mismatch stops being a problem, and it starts becoming one of the strengths of the relationship. It's not necessary to have identical money philosophies for both of you to feel safe. You just need mutual respect, shared values, and enough flexibility to build a life where both of you can breathe. This is the Life After Enough podcast, and I'm your host, Nick. Follow, like, and share if you're ready to design a life that's yours. See you next week.